What's going on, Raider Nation? How's everybody doing out there? Hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday afternoon today. It's the first of the month. And thank you for tuning in to another installment of the Wild Wild West Show. I'm with my man here, Hot Beavers. Hot Beavers, how you doing, brothers?
I'm great, man. Happy to be here. Like you said, it's a beautiful Sunday. Lots of stuff going on in Raider Nation. So yeah, let's get to it, man.
Yes, sir. So everybody here, let's get straight to the meat and potatoes here. So let's talk about the 3-4 defense here. So we have a new defensive scheme installed into our program now. So we are shifting to a 3-4 base defense for the 2026 season under our new defensive coordinator, Rob Leonard, and we're moving away from the previous 4-3 scheme to a more multiple aggressive front. This system also emphasizes three down linemen, four linebackers, and crucially, a dominant nose tackle to control the middle. What's cool is that Rob Leonard brings his philosophy influenced by stints with Baltimore with Mike McDonald and Miami Dolphins Brian Flores, aiming to utilize multiple fronts rather than just a traditional 3-4. And the 3-4 requires high quality edge rushers who can play in a 2 point stance and drop into coverage, along with reliable inside linebackers. And also, while transitioning into the 3-4, it often means that outside linebackers, they stand up, and reports suggest Crosby will likely remain in the 3 point stance, potentially playing more as a 5-7 technique defensive end. And this move, is designed to improve coverage capabilities against our tough AFC West passing offenses and create a more versatile pass rush in different scenarios. And this new shift, it signifies a major overhaul in our defensive philosophy with a focus on speed and versatility at our linebacker position to complement the new front line structure. So I'm really excited, about this new front. It's something has to change, right? Because obviously, our defense wasn't playing up to par as we all expected it should be. So change is good. Sometimes change is good. And I'm really looking forward to see how this is gonna look with our upcoming season here. And yeah, so what's your take on that, Hot?
Yeah, the 3-4 that Leonard's gonna run, I think, is gonna be different than you know what you probably saw in Pittsburgh in the '90s, right? It's more about disguises. It's gonna be a coverage driven. You talked about the front being multiple, definitely. Simulated pressure where you overload one side and then bring a blitz from somewhere where the offense, isn't accounting for it after they already slide protection to account for what you've done, right? So a lot of games, tackle and stunts where, Max Crosby's going to get a chance to do some pretty interesting stuff. I disagree with the idea that he's going to play end. I think he's going to be an outside linebacker in a 3-4 if he
Mm,
stays. And I think that's actually going to free him up a ton because you don't know where he's going to come from. You're going to see him like mugging the A gap sometimes, where he's just like standing right over the center. He's going to get a chance to rush from 2 point stance. He can kind of, vary what he does. And I think it's a big deal just because this is going to be a more modern style defense. Not to say that what Patrick Graham did wasn't modern, because it was very matchup based, which is a modern thing, right?
mm,
So I'm not taking away from that, but uh, can be complicated, right? I think that this defense, the way they're going to go about it, is going to be more simple for players week to week because they're not going to be varying the game plan as much or trying to change what they're doing based on what the offense is doing. We're going to dictate rather than respond, which I think is going to be a big difference too. So I'm excited about kind of where this goes. I have some ideas based on what Rob Leonard learned in Baltimore. If you go look back at the 2023 Baltimore defense, one of the best defenses ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And they ran a 3-4, and so I think Rob Leonard has some experience under that version of the 3-4, and then you look at what he learned from Ryan Flores, and then even some of the stuff he learned from Patrick Graham, you can start to get an idea of how this is going to look. And we got some pieces that fit well for it, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, brother. And who I mean, to learn, from McDonald and Brian Flores, that's a great asset, to like have, right? So, I mean, I'm all in for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. I think the opportunity to learn, under the different coaches, was pretty huge. Especially someone like the variation you're gonna get from Mike McDonald. First, Mike McDonald, you know, to the last year's Seattle defense was crazy, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
we
it
saw what
was.
they did. They just
Yeah,
dominated. They were like one of the top scoring defenses as well. So this is a repeat thing that he's been involved with. And there's a slight difference between how he did it in Seattle. In Seattle, it was more three safeties, right? And
mm,
not just thank you, Raider Ryan. Three safeties, yeah, right. So not just the whole 3-4 thing, but a lot of big nickel, right? And so that was a huge issue um, for New England in the Super Bowl. They weren't able
right.
to kind of have an answer for that. I think Seattle ran three safeties almost every play in the Super Bowl, and it really put New England in a bad spot. So I think we have some opportunity to do some pretty cool stuff with that too. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the different coaches' influence. Is he going to lean more Baltimore? Is he going to lean more Seattle with the safeties? Are we going to
Yeah,
see more matchup versatility because of his time under Patrick Graham? Right. So
yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how it
I've
works out.
I've I think it might bring like a mix, kind of like a gumbo, kind of, yeah.
Right. Right. Like a
uh,
mash, a mashup.
yeah, yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Raider Ryan, thank you so much for being here, man. The
Yes.
Raider
Awesome.
ambassador,
Yeah.
of all the creators here. He's great. Thank you for keeping the lights on here, man. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. We had a little technical difficulty, so it'll re-air on my channel later, so you can watch it there as well, and it'll get spread that way. So,
Okay,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
awesome. We got my boy here. What's up, brother? How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second to.
Awesome, yeah. Chat is alive.
There we go. All right, cool. So if you guys just came here, and you just tuning in, we just talked about our new installed 3-4 defense, and yeah, please feel free to like and subscribe to both our channels. It's
Mm-hmm.
greatly appreciated. Yeah, so let's go on to the next topic here. So, Raider Nation, if you guys have been watching or reading different outlets and sources, they're all saying, that Clint Kubiak, he likes the O line, and maybe we're not, that fall off or not, we're not that falling off on our O line as people may expect, right? So Clint Kubiak, he's high on the current offensive line right now, and he's highlighting stability at tackle and was praising Jackson Powers Johnson's physical play, his style, and his versatility. And Kubiak also expressed confidence, in the talent that's already present that we have on our O line now. And he was specifically citing stability at both tackle spots with Colton Miller and DJ Glaze. So some stuff that I've seen him on his interviews, he really likes those two guys there. And he also noted that the group, yes, it is a work in progress, right? But he believes that they have the necessary pieces in place. And he also mentioned working alongside, his new O-line coach that he just hired, Rick Dennison, that he's going to get the most out of these younger players that we have on our
Mhm.
roster right now. And he specifically, praised, J J JPJ, right? But while he's not decided on a permanent spot yet for JPJ, he's actively evaluating him at both positions. So who knows? Like maybe he might be, our center. Maybe it'll be Lindenbaum. Who knows? How they're gonna do that there.
Mhm.
Um, I wouldn't mind, if and this is me, if we get Lindenbaum, I would like that option too. But if we just, if JPJ is our primary center, then I'm open to that also as well.
Mhm. Right, right. No, that I'm happy to hear that he is not so down on the whole line. That means we're closer probably than we think, or a lot of people think. I do think some of that's coach speak, right? He doesn't want to tip his hand as far as what would happen in free agency and a draft. You know, the development of young players is going to be important. We spent some real picks on, Grant, right, last year, right. So like we went twice, double dipped on the offensive line last year. Both those players need to make something happen this year in order for us to take that real step forward. I don't think we can just fix it, spending it all on the draft or free agency. We have other holes, right? So hopefully we can add one real good veteran in the interior, and then yeah, those guys can step up and we can go from there. Especially because Dennison is so good at coaching guys up, and
Yeah,
they are athletic, right? So it's not like we have, you know, guys who can't move or don't fit the system that we're trying to force into it, right? So I think there's a possibility that guys take a real step forward, especially when last year they were being coached by the general manager, when he had some spare time, basically. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm fully confident on whatever option that they want to do, with our online. I honestly believe that's going to be. It might not be like a huge leaping improvement from last season, but I believe that it's definitely going to improve and look a lot better.
Yeah, yeah. I think just having stable coaching that puts guys in the positions to actually succeed rather than trying to force them to do things they're not good at, and or just not actually actively being there to coach, right? um, Charles Grant, Caleb Rogers, right, DJ Glaze, those guys can improve and play a little bit better, and then JPJ can stay healthy along with Colton Miller, and then yeah, add a veteran or two, and I think we're there. So
Yeah, I mean it's not too shabby, right? It looks
hmm
pretty good. It looks pretty
hmm
good.
hmm
Yeah, and then plus, a good or I should say a solid O line, that's critical and crucial for the development of our potential new franchise quarterback in Fernando
hmm
Mendoza, and that could also help the running game, and Genty could ball out more. And I'm excited to see how that's gonna look. And speaking of Fernando Mendoza here, so there's kind of been some talk, that there's signs that Mendoza will sit his first year. So John Spytek, he has indicated that our top draft pick and our Heisman winner Fernando Mendoza may not start immediately in his rookie year, and they're preferring a developmental approach to avoiding rushing him in. And John Spytek also emphasized on building a strong team around a young quarterback to prevent him from getting killed. And John Spytek appears, he's not the only GM of throwing rookie quarterbacks into the fire immediately, if the team isn't ready. And the focus is on building a nice, robust offensive line and a run game first. And Kubiak also noted about having another running back to split the load with Genty, which I'm all for that too. And
Hmm.
while Mendoza is, he's highly regarded as a potential number one pick, right? But the team also aims, to avoid the baptism by fire scenario, right? And despite his comments, some analysts and outlets believe that if Mendoza is the number one pick, it is highly likely that he will start sooner rather than later,
Hmm.
as sitting number one overall quarterbacks is a rare thing in the modern NFL. And I've always said, if you guys watch the content that Hot and I that we put out in the past, I've always been
Hmm.
one on the favor to having a rookie quarterback sit and learn
Hmm.
the system and the speed of the game and absorb that knowledge. And I wouldn't mind, like if we honestly, had a vet, start, like the first season or the first 8 or 9 games, and then Mendoza comes in. But ultimately, it's where the Raiders are at and how they see Fernando being comfortable and if he's ready to start day one.
Right, right. I mean, if he's ready, obviously he's ready, right? Um, I think, it would probably be something more like if we do have a veteran, we're looking for somebody to start the first 4 games or so max to get everything in line, make sure that we don't have any issues on the O line that we're not aware of before you put your prize out there to be pecked at by a defense and that sort of thing. So I mean, I could see that, but I think otherwise, he's going to play, and he's going to play pretty early. We're going to go into this situation like we always do, and in the preseason we'll probably have some veteran. They'll say this is our starter for like this is our
Mhm.
starting quarterback, right? And
Right.
then and then it'll be sometime around about a week before the preseason ends that miraculously Mendoza will become ready to start, right? Right?
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So I mean, everything in its own time, but I think like somebody as smart as him, I'd be surprised if he sat more than a couple games to start the season because we're trying to figure out the line or something like that. Um,
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. I think this is also, at the same time we have Geno Smith sitting out there, and I told you guys that Arizona was a spot for him, and now we're seeing those rumors all over the internet. So if you want to hear about stuff before it happens, just watch this show, because I'll tell you, and so will Wester Thomas over here, who will, right?
Yeah.
So no, but like, it's entirely possible that some of that is posturing because you know we have a veteran quarterback now, and we may be trying to signal to the league that we're okay with keeping him, because if we're okay with keeping him, his trade value's worth more. It's not just Arizona, but now we're hearing about the Vikings and some other teams that could possibly be really happy if we release Geno. When you start to hear stuff like teams are going to be really happy and can't wait till a player is released, and there's multiple teams saying that, think about the logic of that. That's probably not how that's going to go. If
Yeah.
a player has enough value that 4 teams are just dying for him to be released, then he has trade value.
Yeah, yeah. I've also heard kind of rumors in the rumor mill, that the Raiders might just be like, hey, they're ready to just cut ties with Gino. I'm really so me. I've always been okay. I'm done with Gino. Ship him out of here. Get him off the team. But of course, I would like to get something back for him. I just don't want to just off him.
Yeah,
I want to get
right.
something back, and
Gave up a
hopefully,
third.
yes, yes. I mean, third would be great, honestly, but
No,
I'm
I'm saying
thinking,
we gave up a third,
oh
so we
yes,
want to get
yes,
some.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
right,
yes, 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 yes.
right.
I think maybe if we're lucky, we may get a fourth, but I'm kind of like in the fifth pick range.
Yeah,
That's kind of where I'm at.
right. I think if we did something where we like said, hey, take Geno and a fifth and give us a third, then we might be in business, right?
Yeah.
And then, that's for us, it's $18.5 million in dead money that we don't have to eat this year or next year. That's the choice. Either we cut him this year and it's 18 and a half dead money on the cap, or we post June 1st, cut him, and it's 18.5 million dead money on the cap. If we trade him, then that money is not there. So that's important. Um, and so, yeah, cap management sort of thing. You don't want to tip your hand like, oh, we don't need this. Mendoza's starting day one. I mean, then Gino's value goes to the floor immediately, right? He's a backup quarterback, right?
Yeah.
If you talk about it like this, he's a starting quarterback you're trading, right?
Yeah,
So
it's true.
some of this is like this is a grown-up organization now, guys. So we're actually gonna
I
we're gonna
know.
watch what we say. We're gonna frame things in a way that like gives us value for our assets, and we don't just kind of trash people because it feels good, like Antonio Pierce or somebody like that. Not to name names, but I'm naming names. So, all right.
So as much as I don't want Gino on the team, on our roster, and I've been saying this, over the past couple of shows we've been doing, I wouldn't don't be shocked either, and I would not be shocked, if Tom Brady's like, you know what, we got him on the team. He's a vet. Let's just roll with Gino, So that's also
Yeah.
one thing, out there that I do see, like, oh yeah,
Well, yeah.
you know,
Listen, I don't want to be the bad guy here to say this, but the most logical thing to do is to keep Gino, roll with him for the first 4 games, raise his trade value.
yeah,
Then when Mendoza's ready to start, you trade him off the team.
yeah,
Then, right
yeah,
before the trade deadline, when some team is desperate because they need a quarterback and somebody got hurt, or they know that whoever McCarthy or something is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right,
AJ McCarthy, yeah, yeah.
JJ McCarthy or Jimmy Garoppolo or whoever the hell they're trying to roll out there is not feeling it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Right. So
man,
like,
yeah, great
I
point.
mean, I don't. A lot of people are not going to like that, but this is a grown-up organization, so you might see that. You might see the decision is we're gonna we're gonna dress up this whole Geno thing and rehabilitate his trade value under Clint Kubiak, right? If we go 2-2 in those 4 games, right,
Yeah,
and he doesn't look horrible, all of a sudden, man, you're getting a second round pick for Geno, right?
yeah, yeah. That would be nice. Just as long as we get something back, then that's great.
Yeah, he's on a good contract, so to be real,
Yeah.
yeah. So.
Let me just go back to Raider Ryan's comment here, and then I'll go through the comments because I seen this, and I just gotta acknowledge this here. Thank you, Raider
Hmm.
Ryan. Each time I see you in our chats, man, I just gotta stop the show, man, and just give a big Raider salute, man, and I tip my hat to you, brother. Thank you so much,
Hmm.
man. Appreciate it. And then Raider Ryan also says this is a very fast D line class this year. I really so to be honest, I haven't gone deep, into the players of the draft class yet. I've kind of seen, like a bit of the combine, but it was mostly highlights of the players that are in our inner circle that were trying to reach out to. So I'd rather be, honest, but I wouldn't doubt it. Because each it seems like each season, um, the draft class are always getting faster and stronger and quicker. So yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
I'm definitely gonna have to check it out for sure.
Yeah, there's some crazy times being around at the combine. Um, so it's really fun to watch that over the weekend. Definite speed, deep at safety, which helps us, right? We need
Yeah,
safeties. There's a ton of safeties out there that look pretty darn good. Good linebacker class that's pretty deep as well. That's good. So we'll see. We'll see what we come out. But it's a athletic, fast group. And we have a lot of picks. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and with all the picks we have, I'm fully confident and I give my full trust in what we're gonna do going forward. I'm all on board.
Absolutely. I think we have a good front office that's making smart moves. What's up, Raider Twan? What's
Raider
going on?
Swan in the house. What's up, brother?
What's
Shout out to
going
my
on?
man. Make sure you guys
Yeah,
go check out his channel too, guys. He has great
yeah.
stuff and he puts out great
Amazing
content
stuff.
too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
please go to his channel. Check him out.
You've already
S-
been there.
Yeah. All right. So we're obviously, we need a number one receiver right now. A lot of people would agree with that. And some people are also on the fence saying, well, um, maybe we don't really need one because we got Tucker there, right? I've
Mm,
always said, I really like Tucker. I like his speed. I like the way he plays, but I don't really see him as a true number one in my eyes. And this is my, opinion
okay.
here. I see him as a solid number two.
Okay.
And I also have to incorporate this here because there has been rumors swirling, and I'm not really big, on like throwing rumors, he say, she say stuff on here. But because most of the sources that I have seen, they were saying that we're in the running for this player. So I have been reading up on some Brian Thomas Jr. trades, rumors, to us here to come to our team.
Hmm.
So where I specifically read this from was ESPN's Dan Graziano, and he indicated that the Raiders are one of the four teams monitoring the 2024 first round pick, Brian Thomas Jr., viewing him as a potential wide receiver one to upgrade our offense. And um, we could be a potential trade suitor for the Jacksonville Jaguars, ahead of the 2026 season. And we're actively seeking a true, number one receiver threat to complement our tight end Brock Bowers and to boost our passing attack. Now, the reason why I'm not going to crazy on this because some rumors suggest, that the Jags might move on him, but then there's other reports indicating that there is no indication of plans to trade him. But the other teams, that are in the run for Brian Thomas Jr. is so allegedly it's the Patriots, the Bills, and the Steelers, and then also with us. We're also, you know, could be a potential landing spot for Brian Thomas Jr. And it's just speculation and other rumors, suggest that the Raiders might consider a major move to land him. But this is the kicker here. With some scenarios, even involving to trade Max Crosby or other high value assets. So that's the kicker there. I so if that was, if Max Crosby had to be thrown to that deal, I would like to say I like Brian Thomas Jr., but I don't know if I would be. I'm kind of split, on Max Crosby for Brian Thomas Jr.
Mm,
I would want a little bit more back from the Jacksonville side.
mm,
I mentioned last week that there was that we could possibly get uh, T Higgins and two first round picks. That was a rumor that I've been hearing. That's something that I would definitely entertain and I would pull the trigger on. But if it's just for Brian Thomas Jr. for Max Crosby straight up, I'm gonna have to say no. I'm gonna need more back. So I'm just bringing this up because it's something that I've
hmm.
seen, and we are in need of a number one receiver. So how do you feel
Yeah.
about that?
Um. So it's a price issue for me. That's a no for me, dog. Um, on that price. So I'm looking at Jacksonville's season last year in their roster, and we had Jacoby Myers, who was on our team, came over there and became the real number one receiver for Jacksonville. Like he immediately took over that position from Brian Thomas Jr. And then they also have Parker Washington, and both
Right.
those players had better years than Brian Thomas Jr. So he's their third receiver. Um, he's the X receiver, big body outside receiver, which we need to develop because we don't want to rely on Dante Thornton Jr. to do that. Because who knows, right? He didn't show enough for us to really believe in that. But like, we are not trading Max Crosby for him. That's not happening. That's laughable. Thank you, Raider Ryan. Um, it would be Brian Thomas Jr. and their draft and their firstborn children. Like that's what we need. So that's not happening. And if it did, then I would be really surprised about the intelligence level of anybody in our front office. So the Brian Thomas Jr. thing is funny. Um, if we're talking like, hey, we'll give you, you know, Dante Thornton Jr. and a third for Brian Thomas Jr. Maybe we could talk now, right?
Yeah,
Right, but that's the kind of universe I'm in with that
yeah,
discussion. So I
yeah,
probably if they're talking about the other teams and other assets, first round picks are being talked about, they can just go ahead and hang over my face because I'm good, right? So
yeah,
that's yeah.
yeah. And I'm on boat with I really believe that the best offer that I've seen that's been rumored is the T Higgins and 2 first round picks for Max Crosby. Like
Yeah,
that's
that
the
would
like
make me
kind
think.
of deal that has to be structured to make me be
Right.
like, okay, like maybe we could work something out.
Let's
But
think about this. I'm the now if you want me to like take this deal back to my owner, right? If I'm the GM, then you offer me a player under control who's good, not Brian Thomas Jr. Not to say he's not good,
yeah,
not T Higgins, right? So
yeah,
give me a player on their first contract that's really good and 2 first round picks. And now I'm gonna go back to my owner and go, I think we want to talk about this deeply, right?
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And bring in the coach to talk about it too and see how he feels, right? That sort of thing.
Yeah. We have some things that we also would are that we are gonna say about Max Crosby too, but we're gonna save that for a later segment.
Mhm.
So we'll cover that here in a bit. Raider Ryan says, "What would you guys think about Trent Williams on a deal? I prefer the youngster movement myself. Hot. I'll let you bless us first."
Okay, so this is going to be interesting because a player like Trent Williams, if we did sign him, would tell me something about where we think we're at, right? Because there is an argument that when you look at this roster, we looked at it last week, you kind of did a comparison of this roster and the Seattle Seahawks roster, right? You looked at that roster to start the season last year before they won the Super Bowl, and it's not like they had a ton of overpowering talent over there, right?
Mm,
He used pieces correctly, McDonald and then Clint Kubiak, taking an offense that was bad, right? They added a quarterback who, some would say is not even better than Mendoza right now, right? Like, I'd give me 4 weeks into the season, and I'll take Mendoza over Darnold. Okay, like you go back
yeah.
and look at some of that early tape of Darnold, right, in Seattle this year, and you're like, oh boy, yeah, there was some there's some
Yeah.
plays where you're like, man, what are you doing out there, right? So like he's still prone to that kind of stuff, but Kubiak won the Super Bowl with that, right?
Yeah.
So there's an argument that you look at this team that they're not as far away as the record,
Mm,
right? You know, the players that mattered to us most, we either traded away or injured. Our most impact players, right? Our offensive line made it to where our high draft pick was, unsuccessful, even though he's talented, right? Bowers
mm,
was out, right?
yeah.
Crosby was
Yeah.
out, right? Like Colton Miller was out, right? JPJ was out. Like these are all extremely important players. Those guys come back, and you have a ton of cap space. If we wanted to kind of move things around, we can have well over 100 million with what we do with Gino, right?
Mhm.
So if we bring in Trent Williams and he's he's going to immediately improve our tackle room. We can go play right tackle, which is
Oh,
huge
definitely.
in right and done, right? The
Yeah.
tackle situation is done at that point. That would if we do that, we're shooting for we're good this year, right?
Mm,
Because we do have the money to kind of fill in the space that we need. Safety, linebacker, right? An extra edge rusher, corner. receiver. We have over $100 million if we want to have it, depending on what we do with Geno. Oh, and we still have the court case for what's the D tackle that we signed the other year, and
Oh, and
at
he
least
got in trouble.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
we got him.
the car crash guy.
we
That guy. I
brought
can't
him
think of his
from
name.
Miami, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
his whole arbitration for that, whether he's gonna have that whole contract removed, is still out there. So that's some national money. It's like $20 million of dead money on the cap that might disappear as well. So there's money to spend. If we sign a Trent Williams, it means we're going for it. So that'd be interesting, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like sitting behind Trent Williams for years is going to hurt any of our young tackles. So let's go for it. I would say, right? If that's what they're planning, let's go ahead and win. Why not?
Yeah. And thank you, Brett and Ryan. It
Wilkinson, thank you.
was Wilkinson. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. And then
Right.
just back to answer your question, just so that way I could show my point of view here. I honestly wouldn't be, opposed to it. I've always liked Trent Williams. He's great, but Hot also made a great point too, stating that if we sign him, that kind of tells you where they think where we're at with our own line, right? I wouldn't, be opposed, to keeping the guys, young, and we build with, the like drafting, like all that, and we improve from within, our roster. But I would definitely not be opposed to Trent Williams on the deal, because I just feel like anything to help bolster our own line and to help protect Fernando Mendoza and to help our
Mm-hmm.
running game, and open up the passing lanes, for Bowers, et cetera, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, having the opportunity to have like a DJ Glaze slide inside for guard depth and that sort of thing, Willie Wilkinson. Nice.
Yeah, Chad, if you guys have any, questions, please feel free to shoot them in here, and then we'll answer them.
Definitely
And
not. Definitely not a Christian Wilkinson move. But more of a Willie Wilkinson move for
Willie
sure.
Wilkinson, legend. Yeah.
Allegedly, right? But yeah, so like, yeah, we'll see what they do. That's kind of what I'm watching this offseason. I want to see where we go. Are we gonna go out and sign like a veteran, top corner to go and bring Eric Stokes back, or are we going to just draft, right, and let these guys go and develop? Like, what's the, it won't be long before we know what direction this goes, because free agency comes first.
Yeah, yeah. Raider first downs in the house. That's a cool name. I love the Raiders, and I like when we get first downs. Touchdowns are even better, but I like that name. Salute. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. All right, so the last subject that we're gonna go over here. So I had it on the list for our topics to talk about today, and I was talking to Hot before the scenes. I was like, you know what, I'm so tired of the subject. I don't want to talk about it, but then he convinced me and persuaded me, just to talk about it. So I'm gonna bring it up here, and we'll just go from there. So let's talk about I know you guys see this every day on every other Raider creator stuff out there. I feel like it's beating a dead horse, but I got to bring it up anyway. Max Crosby. Max Crosby. You guys already know what I'm going to say. I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm going to say about him. The trade rumors are not dying. They're still circling around, right? And I was watching a podcast, and young woman asked him, goes, "Hey, Max, so how do you feel about being a Raider for life?" And Max Crosby laughed. He's like, "Oh man, I'm tired of talking about it," and he just completely, didn't give you a full, commitment that he was going to stay to our team. And I just noticed this too. And if you notice, like in prior seasons, when you ask him about it, about hey, about the trade rumors and all that stuff, he shuts it down. He's like, yeah, no, no, I'm here. I'm a Raider for life and all that. But I'm just here to say, I'm tired of the Max Crosby trade rumors. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of talking about it because it just seems like once again we're beating a dead horse on this. Either you want to play with us or you don't. I would love to have you, but if you don't want to be here, that's cool. No players above the shield. And I just at this point, I'm just like even split, like, hey, stay or you don't. And I'm just tired of it. And when is Max not on a cross? When is Max not on a podcast? When is he not on a podcast? That guy is on a podcast. I was saying this to Hot before the show started. Like this guy is on his podcast, everybody else's podcast. He likes the
Yeah,
attention. Once again, this is
definitely.
my personal opinion here. I feel like he likes the attention. He likes how his
Hmm.
name keeps getting brought up.
You know,
And
if he'd like to be on this podcast, he could come on and we could talk about that. I feel like
yeah.
we like the attention too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know, great some of the great players are kind of diva-esque, right? But this guy is taking the whole diva center of attention, to kind of another level. And part of me feels like because
Mm.
we're talking about, Clint Kubiak and all this stuff that is kind of taken away from his limelight, or his spotlight, right? So he's like, you
Mm.
know what? I'm gonna still, bring this up just so that way my name, is still being put out there. And Max, you are relevant. You don't even need to like be so much for the attention, man. And I bringing this up each show, but it's just I can't escape it, so I got to bring it up. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
I don't know, man. So like, I don't, this is a strange situation with this trade rumor with Max Crosby, right? Because like you said, nobody's putting it to bed, right? But that's actually how like professional organizations are run. The ones that really win don't put things to bed like that, right? Because the truth is, like, you would listen to any call just to see, right?
Right,
It also tells you like how other teams see your team, right? And those conversations make it easier than when you call them, right? The fact that you listen means that they'll listen to you,
right.
right? So yeah, we're gonna listen to trade stuff. I watched like somebody was messing with Adam Schefter talking about how they had trade rumors going, and they were joking about how if you just talk to Spytech about a trade and he listens to you, then you can report that Spytech is fielding trade rumors, trade offers, right, and listening
Mhm.
to offers from other teams, even if it's something ridiculous, and he's going to say no regardless, right?
Yeah,
So you know, um, I'm not sure how probable it is he gets traded. I think that if he was actually gonna get traded, we would have heard more like real progress and momentum towards that during the combine. You heard a lot of like, oh well, it's gonna be a thing in the combine, this trade rumor thing, and then that was the peak of it, right? And a lot
yeah.
of teams are like saying that it's too much what they're asking for, right? And so I think the thought was that they could pressure this team into doing something stupid like we did with Khalil Mack,
Great point.
and they weren't able to do that because we're not run by one person who's overwhelmed and inexperienced ownership anymore. Right?
Yeah,
So I think you know if he was gonna get traded, I think we would have heard more about it by now. It seems like it's cooling off some. So unless something else happens or somebody puts an offer out there that's really dumb, right? Um,
mm,
I think we're gonna end up with Max Crosby as an outside linebacker in a 3-4, wreaking havoc. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Raiders first down says, if this was the first of hearing Max was to be traded rumors, I could blow it off as a rumor. But 2 years in a row, and I completely agree. I
See, that
completely
seems.
agree.
See, I see the opposite logic there, right? Because the past has told me every year they say Max Crosby is going to get traded. And there's all these trade rumors about how he might get traded and everybody wants to trade him and we might trade him. And then he never gets traded, right? And every year we heard stuff about Derek Carr, right? Until he finally did get traded. And
Mm,
when he did, at that point, right, it was obvious that if he was going to have to leave the team, right?
yeah.
Right. Right. He had the whole crying press conference thing. We're not going to go back over that. But like obviously, bridges were tough at that point. Devontae
Mm,
Adams threw him under the bus. So,
yeah. His
um,
college teammate, man.
right.
Yeah.
They're like roommates eating Taco Bell together at night and stuff. And
Yeah.
then like next thing you know, he's like best buddies with Aaron Rodgers. So, no, I think this whole it happened 2 years in a row. It's more than 2 years. It's been like 3, 4 years in a row. Max Crosby's gonna get traded.
Yeah.
So at this point, like, wake me up when he gets traded, I guess.
So where I'm at with that, I completely understand with what you're saying and and your point there. My view of this is that each year that it's talked about, it's kind of it opens his eyes more to him. Like, you know what, I could be traded, and I want to be traded, and I think that the NFL outlets and media puts things in his head too, which kind of messes that up to make him also want to, be like, hey, I'm done with the Raiders. But I just feel like as each year as it goes on, as he wants
Mm-hmm.
to be traded, I feel like in his mind it's more likely each year. And this year seems like more so than the previous years, right? But um yeah, I see both points with Raiders first downs and your point there. And then Max Raider Ryan says Max wants to be a legend so bad it's tatted all over him. All those legends. He wants to be like we're committed to a bad team for a while, but stuck it out, and we're the big part of the change.
Right. Like his biggest idol's Kobe Bryant. Need I say more? Right. He had moments where he thought he was going to leave the Lakers. Like, God, he never left.
It was close. It was close, but he didn't leave.
He didn't
I would have
leave.
been sad. I would have been
Oh
sad.
man, sad.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He
depression.
almost got traded to Chicago. I will say that, but
Man, if he went to the Bulls, that would have made it worse. So, yeah. God rest his soul, Kobe Bryant. But yeah, no, he definitely wants to, be a legend. He also has something else tatted on him, and that's the Raiders emblem. So the logo, right? Um, you know, we gotta players are gonna look at their options, right? And the league trying to push us into a place where, Max is looking around doesn't surprise me because, it's convenient for us to be down, right?
mm,
It's a lot of clicks and that kind of stuff. They could have put this to bed with some of the stuff that was said, right? GMs rarely come out and be like, we're not trading this player no matter what, right? Like that's a rare thing.
mm,
Usually reserved for your like, franchise quarterback in his prime sort of thing, right? Everybody
mm,
else is some usually tradable, right? Like so that
yeah,
is they wouldn't even entertain offers. But our GM did say people were trying to trade for him last year. We gave him the biggest contract for a non-quarterback in history. We want him on the team. I mean, that's enough typically to put it to bed. If you're a media who wants to put that to bed, but they don't because it clicks and it makes, Raider fans upset and hot under the collar, and then we talk about it on the show, right? So
mm,
yeah, I think if we were going to see a trade, it would look a little different. That's my opinion. Anything can happen because somebody could call and make a crazy offer. But like this doesn't look like a player who's about to be traded to me. This looks like the media trying to have something to do during the combine because people are starting to get a little bit bored at people just running in shorts, right?
Yeah, and then so Raider Ryan, you made a great point. To be legendary like Kobe and Michael, they were a big part of the turnaround, and that's you are absolutely right. When MJ got drafted to the Bulls, it wasn't just shining daisies. It took time. For them to be one of the greatest teams ever. Like they had a consecutive run, and then Kobe. When he
Mm-hmm.
was with Shaq. Those first years, it was all dreams and stars and all that. But once Shaq left, that roster that Kobe had, it was like the Wounded Warrior Project. It was terrible. Like he had no cast, but he stuck it out. And then eventually, pieces got there. They got Pau Gasol,
Pau Gasol.
Artest, and but yes, that's a great point. And um, this is the year where I feel like he's getting a franchise quarterback, not just a quarterback, but a
Mm-hmm.
guy on offense to help elevate the Raiders, and now is the time, to be like, okay, we just got our dude, or we didn't get him yet, but all signs
Mm-hmm.
point we're going to draft him, but they're going to get our guy, and like we're turning a new leaf. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, Max is, he sees that side.
Yeah, I think part of what you're seeing from Max too is that this is the first time that he's not being told by the organization like you're here regardless. He's probably been told like, hey, we want you here, but we're going to listen to offers. And so all that I'm a Raider for life stuff, you can't really talk like that in an off season where you may be traded, right? He
Mhm.
doesn't have. I know they talk about the leverage. Uh, I don't see how Max Crosby has all the leverage. Max Crosby is not holding out. He doesn't want to hold out. That's the last thing he wants to do. He hates missing games, and he just signed a huge contract last season. Right? So
Yeah,
he
yeah,
has like 3 years left on his contract.
yeah.
Like, in what situation does he have leverage? So, like,
Great
you got to
point.
listen to like the media and what they're trying to say, and then think about how that makes sense with reality. It
Mhm.
doesn't, right? The leverage is actually the Raiders have all the leverage, right? Because they have a contract that's controllable for a
Mhm.
player that's in his prime, right? And so you know they have no reason to rush to get rid of him or feel like they're pressured to do anything. He's not if he tries to sit out, or he's got to play a certain amount of games just to qualify in the season. So he's got to play just to preserve his contract and stuff like that. Like, why would he do that? It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a lot different than people are making it seem.
For sure, for sure. I feel like all the cards are in the Raiders' hands and not Max Crosby's hands. And yeah, that's a great
Mm-hmm.
point. You just said, hot, great take,
Mm-hmm.
Jack. Thank you so much for you subscribing. I appreciate it. All the people watching, please feel free to like and subscribe to both of our channels.
Mm-hmm.
And Raider Ryan salutes Jack, and Raider Ryan has a question for you, hot.
Mm-hmm. Still in Seattle. I'm in Vegas. Yeah. Yep. Moved down to Vegas a couple years ago. Went to all of the games last season, which was awesome. And so yeah, just continuing to set roots here. I still bounce back to Seattle sometimes, so that's cool. My Aaron Rodgers nature retreat.
Sometimes you got to do that, man. Sometimes you got to
Hey
be
man,
off the grid.
that's right. That's right. Just like milking some sheep and goats, and dealing with the farm dogs, and just chilling out and waking up with the sun and working hard, tossing bales of hay, get yourself in shape. It was great. I had a great time up there. I did not sit in darkness for the whole time, but yeah, who's to say what else happened that was Aaron Rodgers like
Yeah.
in the mountains. We'll talk about that. Yeah. So
uh, Airsoft dude, my man, thank you for being here. He says Max would be leaving at the worst time, and I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. That's straight facts. Now would be the worst
Hmm.
time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's always like right when you're like, I'm gonna give up, right? Because like it's right after when Kobe decided to stay, like then we got Powell, right?
Hmm.
Like something happened similar with Giannis in the Bucks, right? Like he was ready to go, and then like he stayed and then like won the title like the next year.
Hmm.
So like maybe you don't want to end up staying too long in a situation where they're not doing anything positive. So that's why Max has got to you know, keep his ear to what's happening in the organization and make sure we're smart about what we're doing. But don't bail right when we're about to like
I
actually have all
know,
this
I
money and the
know.
number 1 pick and
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean, like, right?
yeah.
So
I mean, if
interesting.
Max was in the Cardinal situation, then yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah. If you're like on the Cardinals or you know just the Chargers because they're always going to be bad. Like just go ahead and get yourself traded, right? But like otherwise. Yeah, take a look.
Raider Ryan says he can see you chewing on some straw riding a horse. Yeehaw! How you doing
Yeah,
there, partner?
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely had the hat and everything going on. Yeah, man, it was the flannels. I had
There you
the
go.
the 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 mountain man beard happening and all that, so it was good. It was good. Raider Ryan's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, chat. Feel free to ask questions. We're rounding out an hour here. We're gonna sign off soon. Um,
Hmm.
let's see. All right, my boy Airsoft dude says the Raiders have always given them what he wanted, and it never worked out as he pictured. Now he needs to just let them do their job and play the system and see how it goes. I agree.
Right,
I agree.
He's on fire.
right.
You're on
No,
fire.
exactly. No, yeah. I think he's trying to stay out of the way too, right? Like he's just gonna. I'm not saying anything. I'm not committing to anything, right? Honestly, if I was the GM, like I would have came to him before the offseason and said, "Listen, no more of this
Yeah.
demonstrative stuff. If somebody asks you whether you're going to be traded or not, just say I don't know. Right? I'm going to do my player thing. You let me handle that situation because I need to be able to control your trade value or control the talks and see how things go. Let me handle that. You just stay out of it, right? And so that may be what he's doing, right? We've heard a lot
Mhm.
of damn if I do, damn if I don't stuff from him. I'm trying to just worry about what I do and stay committed to being a player. And I'm not a GM. And last time I did something, that wasn't good and messed things up. And so, although I
Yeah.
think I'm happy he did what he did because I didn't want Harbaugh, but that's just my opinion. So,
I was all in for Harbaugh. I am always like one of the Harbaugh guy, and that's what's great about this show too. We're not holding hands, agreeing with everything. It's not
no,
kumbaya all
no,
the
no,
time.
no. I think Harbaugh is like a psychopathic team destroyer, and it's only a matter of time before he continues to destroy everything that he touches, which will be the Chargers. So you'll see they're not going to win anything. First, because of the Chargers, and second, because he's him. So we'll see about that whole Harbaugh thing, but I got a strong suspicion it's going to continue to be the same stuff over and over again, which build a team and then choke it away in the playoffs, and then blame
Yeah.
your staff. Blame your staff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Now that he's on the Chargers, I don't want him to win or be good. So
Yeah.
so there's that. But honestly, I've always been a fan of the Harbaugh brothers. I've said it, in the past too. When we got Clint Kubiak, brother John was my first choice. But
Hmm.
but there was a lot of coaches out there. I kind of knew that we may have had like a small chance to like get him, but I feel like the writing was on the wall with the Giants there.
He, I think if we didn't have Spytek and Brady, it'd be a different thing. He
Mm-hmm.
wants to come into an organization and be able to have control over, the roster decisions and stuff. So, I mean, that's going to be a big part of why he wouldn't fit with what we want. I'm sure that, like, when he became available, Mark Davis immediately, like, you know, put down his cereal bowl and, like,
Called him real quick. Yeah.
he's right, got on the phone to Brady, like, hey, man, like, what's this Harbaugh thing, right? But then when you look at it, like, Harbaugh is going to want control over roster stuff. Like, I would rather just
Mm.
have the young coach who's a hotshot. I mean, how is this? I'm watching Clint Kubiak, and it just feels like John Gruden all over again, like a new era version of like when we hired Gruden
Yeah,
under
yeah,
Al, right? Like the
yeah.
young coordinator coming in, all about the business, all about football, right?
Mm.
So I think it's going to be a better fit than if we were to get one of the Harbaughs. And John is at least a winner, right? He finished and got himself a Super Bowl and all that good stuff. But uh, the Giants. So we'll see how that goes for him.
Yeah. Airsoft Dude says he thinks players need to stop having a podcast. They so quick to gossip and stir stuff. And my man, we just touched on this earlier. I was saying, like when is Max Crosby not on a podcast? When is he? He's always just running that mouth, and he just
Yeah.
just letting it fly. And I've always been the one, and I said this in the past too. Look, it's cool to have your podcast, like all that stuff, but do it during the off season. I've always been
Mm.
the like one to like not do it during the regular season, and correct me if I'm wrong, like Micah Parsons kind of like stopped, doing his podcast so like often, and Max Crosby needs to, take a like page out of that. But then once again, that also stems to me saying Max Crosby loves the attention. He just loves when all the cameras and the NFL and everybody's talking about him.
Mm. Yeah. The it's definitely a new era. Obviously, when we were coming up and watching football as young young people, this wasn't normal, right? People didn't have podcasts because they didn't exist. But they
Mm,
also, there's no way that someone would do something like that just because, the risk of, letting out something about the game plan or saying the wrong thing and offending a teammate or a coach or blah, 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 blah was so high.
mm,
And this, especially during the season sort of thing. But I mean, the thing about Max is like, the only way you can question is to say, okay, are you prepared for games? Max is always prepared for games. Are you in
mm,
shape? Max is always in shape. So it's like there's not much you can really say. That's his free time, right?
yeah.
And so I part of me is as an American, it's like he can do whatever the hell he wants to do on his off time
Mm.
and shut the fuck up, right? But like, right? But I do get it, right? Because it's different and it can cause a lot of complications and it makes things, you know, where's his motivation, right? Like he's
Mm,
motivated to create this kind of brand for himself that
yeah,
outlives his playing career, right? Which I get, right? But then that conflicts sometimes with the playing career part, right?
yeah.
So that balance is kind of uncomfortable. And yeah, I think a lot of us would just prefer that he just didn't do that, right? But we also get to see a lot of stuff and know a lot of stuff about the team because of him doing that we wouldn't have gotten. So, uh,
Mm,
yeah, there's some negatives and positives going both ways there for sure.
good point. Airsoft Dude says Sean Payton would have been better, and I'm guessing he's saying more better than Jim Harbaugh. What's your take on
Sean,
that?
um, not a huge Sean Payton fan either. Um, I think that Kubiak is a better version of Sean Payton,
Okay,
right? I
okay,
think
that's a great point.
Kubiak is like a young version of Payton. Sean Payton, what he does, the league is starting to catch up with that. Like even Denver, with the record they had last year, that was mostly the defense
Mm,
doing that. The offense wasn't superb, right? Bo Nix did a lot on his own, kind of heroing some plays.
yeah,
I don't feel like it was the offense under Peyton that really was the star there. I
Mhm.
think Sean Payton also requires a very specific type of quarterback, um, and doesn't seem to be able to adjust as well. Like he struggled with Russell Wilson,
Mhm.
um, and then Russell Wilson actually played better in Pittsburgh, right? He played better, in other situations than under Peyton in Denver. So I'm not like huge into that whole Sean Payton thing. Like the turnaround, I mean, they were supposed to be good when he first got there.
Yeah.
So to say like turnaround, like they were crappy when they were supposed to be good, and then he got them
Mhm.
back to being good, but it wasn't his offense; it was the
It was Bo
defense
Nix and the
and Bo
defense.
Nix,
Yeah.
right? So it's like I don't know, I don't see it the same way. So yeah, I hear you, but nah, I'm disagree with that one.
So if you had a choice though, between Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh, and you had to choose who's that? And I know that's two coaches that you dislike, but you had to choose one. You know who
Oh
I'm
man,
choosing, but if you had to choose, who is it?
I had to choose one.
Yeah.
Jesus, man. Ah, oh wow, that's tough. Um, I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna go with Sean Payton just because he probably won't like burn your organization down on the way out. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, that's my. So I guess Airsoft dude, you're right. That Airsoft, he is better, but that's like saying like the frying pan is better than the fire. So
Yeah. My man based finance, he says, pretty sure they would get fined for talking too much. So who wants to lose money?
mm, mm. Yeah, the league doesn't seem to care as much about what players are saying as they used to because
Yeah.
it's right they would find people for all kind of stuff. Um, Max is still careful about what he says about those refs though, if you notice. So
Yeah. Yeah. Airsoft dude says podcast topic right into contract. LOL, they paid Kyle not to play video games. Yeah. So what he's saying, right into Max's contract that he can't do any podcasts like the Cardinals with Kyler Murray to not play video games, and we all know about Call of Duty Kyler. If you guys haven't heard
I
about that.
can't. I cannot. Um, the so if you have to put into a contract that your starting quarterback needs to be responsible, you should probably think about that contract real hard. Um, that's a statement that I'm willing to make. I don't think that you're gonna manage somebody in a contract that way. Like it's funny, right? But we see the result. Like Arizona's probably gonna trade Kyler Murray now, right? So
Yeah,
it didn't work,
yeah,
right? Um, it's an addiction thing, basically, right? Like we already know
mhm.
Max can beat an addiction.
Yeah, that's true.
The question is he gonna recognize that this is an issue that's getting in the way of his productivity because he's trying to do something too much, which is kind of the definition of an addiction, right? So like, maybe not. Maybe he doesn't see it that way, right? But I don't think you could put it in a contract and make a difference, right? So
Yeah.
I think old Kyler's probably still Call of Duty Kyler
Yeah,
under a different
on a
under
different,
under under a
yeah, another
burner
team.
account, right?
Yeah,
Call
that's
of
funny.
Duty Kevin or whatever.
T Nuts says 6 people watching. LOL, Raiders suck.
You son of a bitch.
Hey, you
Okay.
know what?
That's
No, mm, I'm thankful for you being here and being one of the 6 people watching.
thank you.
And then I'll be honest too. I'm not as big as the other Raider content creators. We're kind of like mom and pop shop, here slowly growing, but
Right.
I'm happy for all the people, that tune in here. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we control how good the Raiders are. And if nobody cared about the Raiders, you wouldn't be here. And Max Crosby getting traded wouldn't be a national story. And we have the number one pick and the best facility in the whole darn league and number one in revenue. So that must hurt if you're fanning for another team. But you are here for a reason because we matter. We matter even when we're 3-14 because everybody kind of wants to put on that silver and black at some point, right?
Mhm.
Real men wear black. So
Yes. Raider Ryan, we sure did last year.
yeah, bad team. Number one pick.
Airsoft dude, this is to you. He says Wilson, who? LL, he was smart to get rid of him when, or so you're saying when? So when he got rid of Wilson, that was smart coaching.
No, I'm not saying that like trading Russell Wilson wasn't the right move. I'm saying bringing him in was stupid if you weren't able to actually use him. Like, how do you get a quarterback, spend that much money on him, and then not be able to use him, then have to trade him, eat all that cap money? You have a crappy team, and then you get flowers for making them good again, right? When good is relative, right? Like
Yeah.
they weren't good enough to actually win a Super Bowl. They had a very good defense and a quarterback who was running around making plays when their plays were broken, and they won a playoff game, right? They had a good record in the regular season, right? Yeah, I still don't see it. And you can say Wilson who, but the dude was multiple MVP in the Super Bowl and has a ring. So, at the time, he was not thought of as a horrible player, but bad coaching can really start the spiral, can it?
Yeah. I mean, when the Broncos first got Russell Wilson, I was like, to be honest, I was like, shit. They got him, and but he was a shell of himself. When he got there and he didn't play like the Seahawks Wilson that we all know and seen, the greatness he did over there. So I'm glad that when he got to the Broncos, all his superpowers got stripped. So.
Well, yeah, he's like the anti Sean Payton quarterback, which I thought it was funny that he went and got Russell Wilson because he needs a quarterback who plays on time, right? Who exploits the middle of the field, who's able to stand in the pocket and manipulate the pocket. Russell Wilson can't see over the middle of the line, breaks the pocket immediately all the time, throws off his back foot. His most successful plays the whole time he was in Seattle were broken plays, scramble drill stuff. The receivers were trained to do specific things in the scramble drill to take advantage of the fact that Russell Wilson was so good at it. So it was the opposite of what he wanted, but then that's what he asked for apparently.
Yeah.
And so maybe he's just not really good at roster management, and apparently he's not going to call plays anymore either because the offense was horrible last year. So he can stick to smoking weed with his players. I guess that's what he's doing.
Yeah. Great point. Airsoft dude, Kubiak all the way now. Yes, brother. All systems go. All steam ahead. All hands on deck. This is Kubiak show now. And then he says, LOL, didn't Kaepernick start the fire and Jim poured the rest of the can? That was a whole that was a whole fiasco over there, man. That was
the whole thing. Hey, Jim was happy to light the match. Listen, I think Cap poured the gasoline, and Jim was like,
he just walked out and threw the match and walked away while it was burning.
He gave like a little Derek Carr grin at the first, and then threw the match.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Airsoft dude. Yeah, Arc Raiders is addicting. If you guys don't know, that's a game. I play that game. It is a great game. Raider Ryan says, "Mom and pop shop. Who's the mom?" Okay. allow me to rephrase that. We are a hole in the wall restaurant, a hole in the wall
Yes.
bar, a hole in the wall burger
Yes.
joint. You know that
But
it's not known, but we got good
no
food.
flavor. Like if you know, you know. Like if you
Yeah,
know, you know.
yeah,
Right? That's right. That's where you get that good.
yeah.
And we don't
Er,
skip on napkins. We give you plenty of napkins, all that.
yeah, yeah, and we don't charge you for extra ranch. You want we don't charge you 25 cents for extra ranch packet.
No, you get all the sauce, multiple sauces.
Yeah. Airsoft says, "Why is that dude here to talk crap, nerd?"
Because we're
Hey,
the Raiders, man. We're
that's
the
his,
Raiders.
his right to come here, and say
Mm.
whatever he feels, right?
Because it makes you feel strong to talk crap to pirates, right?
Yeah. Nick Solano says Raiders are suck, and Mendoza can't change that. Well, you
Yeah.
suck at putting a properly structured sentence. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Hey, that's your right. And you can say we suck, and we have.
Yes.
We've been sucky. So I can't even like
Yeah.
try to
Yeah.
berate you right
I'm sure. I'm sure
now.
the prospect of the Raiders finally having a really generational quarterback scares you, right? I noticed that you said Mendoza can't change that, but yeah, I mean,
Look,
you're kind of saying what you're afraid of in your statement, right? We already know like number one quarterbacks who are generational change everything for an organization, and
yeah,
so sorry, not sorry.
yeah. Maybe he's upset that Mendoza's not going to go to his team. And
I would be, yeah, yeah.
you
Maybe
know,
he's a Jets fan. That would, woof, yeah,
oh,
that, that
maybe,
hurts. If I was a
maybe.
Jets fan right now, I'd want to die. I'd be like, "Are you serious, man?" Like,
Yeah, they are complete disarray right now. Airsoft dude says Sean Payton did not choose Russell Wilson to be his quarterback in Denver, as Wilson was already under a massive long-term contract before Payton was hired in 2023.
right, but he chose to take the job in Denver, right? With Russell Wilson there as the quarterback, right? He had other opportunities at other positions, other head coach positions. He chose that one. So that's what I'm saying. Like, why would you choose that to be your quarterback? Not so much that he made the trade, but that he chose to go have this person be the guy, right? And then there's this huge contract there. Like, why would you accept that job if you didn't like the quarterback, right? And if you didn't know you didn't like the quarterback, did you watch any tape, right? Do you know why
Mm,
your offense works? I think you do. Like you should. Or did you just like was this all Drew Brees?
yeah, yeah. And that was a bad contract too.
That
That
was
they
a
took
bad
there in
contract.
Denver. That was one of the
Listen,
worst contracts.
quarterbacks matter, right? People's Belichick was the greatest coach of all time, and then Tom Brady left, and then not so much.
Yeah,
And we started to find out how much Tom Brady mattered, right? Like Drew Brees, pretty good quarterback, pretty smart. Maybe he
yeah,
mattered. Maybe this was more Breeze than Peyton. I mean, last
yeah,
year's success was more Bo Nix than Peyton, and Bo Nix is his second year.
yeah. I mean, Bo Nix in that defense, man. That's what they got going over there, man. And yeah, I'm jealous of their defense. I will say that. I'll take Patrick Surtain over on our team.
Yeah, yeah,
uh, Bay says, "Fix the O line." Yes, we
yeah,
are in dire
yeah.
need. To fix
Bay,
the O line.
my question to you is: do you think we're close? What do we need on the O line? Do you think we need, big free agent money at interior center guard and a tackle and draft? Like, or are we one, guy away? Is it Linderbaum and we're good? Like, how do you see it? Because I look at it like if we add one guy to the interior and some veteran depth at tackle, just so that we're not depending on like Dalton Wagner or somebody at any point, right?
Yeah,
um, right, but like with Colton Miller coming back and DJ Glaze and Grant, right? maybe we have a tackle rotation already that's pretty good, and add a veteran to that. I'm curious to see what like Raider Nation thinks about where we're at in O-line, because Clint thinks we're close, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think the most questionable signing we did for the O line last season was Alex Kappa, who I like to call Alex Crappa. That was a head scratcher for me, and that we all know how that ultimately played out.
Yeah. Good thing about Kappa is he can. I think we can cut him and say like $5 million. So he's probably a cap casualty. So that's probably seen the
Yeah.
last of Krappa or Kappa. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And Ryan, I'm guessing he's laughing at when I told that dude he couldn't put together a properly structured sentence.
Yeah, he's really bad at the English language. So
Yeah. A Train, my man.
what's
Salute to
up?
you, A Train. What's
What's
up,
up,
brother?
A-Train? What's going
What's up,
on, man?
brother? If
What's
you
going on?
ever would like to hop on with us, hit us up, bro. You're always
Yeah.
welcome here, and it's always
He
good
already
to be,
knows.
man.
He
Yeah,
knows that. Yeah, that's a busy man though. He's got a whole life and a beautiful
yeah.
wife. Yep.
Bay says Fernando.
Fernando.
Yeah, yeah, man. I'm calling it now. That's gonna be the number one selling jersey.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I mean, did you guys see he's 6'4.5", 236 pounds? So this
So
whole he's frail stuff, nah, man. He's like Josh Allen size, bro.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what was crazy too? I saw this little side by side comparison yesterday with Mendoza and Matt Ryan,
Hmm.
and physically wise, they're pretty darn close, man.
Yeah, I think they're
They're
like
pretty close.
they're probably same height, same size, pretty much. Yeah, yeah. Matt Ryan
Mhm.
is a really good physical comp for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, he doesn't have the wheels of a Josh Allen, but I think he's faster than people think. I'm gonna. I wonder if he's gonna run at his pro day.
yeah,
That's what I want to know, because I think he's gonna run like a 4.65 ish.
yeah.
Yeah, four
I so
seven.
so if I were to give Fernando Mendoza a like Madden rating on like speed and like my
Mm-hmm.
eyes, he would
Mm-hmm.
have like 83, 84 tops acceleration and like 80 speed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He ain't
Mm-mm.
Lamar Jackson, but he's not
No.
but he's not Peyton Manning statue. Like he
Right.
could extend it.
Yeah, I think he's more of like comparable to like a Justin Herbert as far as mobility
Mm,
than
yeah,
people
good
give
point.
him credit for. I think he's actually pretty mobile, especially when you look at the stuff at Cal. Like he was running a lot more at Cal, and I watched him run away from a DB or two. Like he's got a little something juice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, so it's gonna be interesting to see how it works out in the pros. Every quarterbacks always look slower in the pros than they did in college, unless you're like Lamar Jackson and you just
Yeah.
I don't know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. A Train. Nothing but love. Thank you, brother. It's always good to have you here. Red and Ryan,
Yes.
the mods are effective in the chat. He has put them in the gulags. He put them in the timeout crib for 1 minute. So he has been
Mm,
sent
mm,
to the
mm.
timeout crib.
Yeah, make sure you give him
Airsoft
a
juice. Yeah.
pacifier while he's in there.
Boot the haters.
Right.
I actually like it. When the haters come here and they say, they like peace, just as long as they're not being, like extremely repulsive, or like, but I, like it because each person has the right to come in here and say, we suck,
Hmm.
blah 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 blah. That's cool. Just as long as they're getting, like too nasty.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Bay says for sure. If we got a veteran in center, don't put him in. Don't put a new position in play. Test out every week. Like let's have a stable line.
Yeah. So it sounds like if you're saying like we went and got like Linderbaum and brought him in, and then kind of rolled back with the line we have now, drafted some depth. You feel like confident that we have a good line there, and it sounds like kind of what Kubiak feels too. Um, you said you think the coaching last year set the line back 2 times. I don't know how much worse of an offensive line situation as far as coaching you can have than what was going on last year. Um, it wasn't just that the offensive line was being coached poorly. It was also that Chip Kelly's offense did not give Geno Smith like easy checkdowns. So there was, the predetermined read stuff rather than full field reading, and then just like not having a good check down meant that he's holding the ball and making it harder on the offensive line than it had to be. And then you pile that on top of coaching, and it was just like a complete train wreck. We had this historically bad
Yeah.
offense, right? So yeah.
Airsoft dude says the Massage King had the worst contract. The Massage King. We all know who the Massage King is. I'm not gonna say any names,
He
but
may
we
be
all
his,
know.
he may be the starting quarterback for Cleveland. It's
Yeah,
between
yeah, yeah, it's fine,
it's
right?
between Deshaun Watson
Yeah,
and Shador Sanders for who ends up with that job. So it's either the Massage King allegedly
yeah,
or Shador over there in Cleveland. So interesting.
yeah. Airsoft. I think coaching last year sent line back 2 times. Yes,
Hmm.
I believe it was 3 times. It was it was a mess. It was a mess. Yeah, it was just not enticing at all. Like I'm trying to be nice and put good words into it, but it was the shits.
Hmm. Yeah, when all the players get worse. Yeah, right. There's no development on the offensive line. DJ Glaze took a step back, right? So yeah, that's not going to be. It's just think about like how good Charles Grant looked in that one game he started,
Mhm.
right? Even though he didn't have an offensive line coach.
Yeah, he was mauling. Yeah, man, he's a mauler.
So we may have our future tackle there as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Airsoft dude says, I don't want Mendoza to I don't want or I think he means wait, you don't want Mendoza to chill and watch Pro Day, or you do want Mendoza to chill and watch Pro Day? Because I want Mendoza to chill and watch Pro Day. I feel like where I'm at with him, not like doing the Pro Day. I feel like maybe there's someone in me saying that the Raiders don't want him to the opponents in the AFC West to see, um, his weaknesses and like all that. Which the AFC
Mm,
West could go watch, it's like college games and stuff. But I just
right.
feel like, like maybe we're just like, hey, like we told him, you're a
Yeah.
guy, we don't care
Right.
what you're gonna do, just chill and hang out.
Yeah. For my own, curiosity, I'd like to see him run just because I want to see what he runs.
Hmm.
But quarterbacks don't usually run, so he probably won't. He'll probably throw just because you have receivers who are trying to get drafted on his team. They're going to be there at pro day he can throw to, and they're going to want to be thrown to by their quarterback so they feel comfortable and all that good stuff, and they can put it on their own showing. So it's not just about him. So he's like the ultimate teammate. So I'm thinking he's going to be out there throwing at a minimum.
Yeah.
And so we'll get to see that, and he will probably wow everybody, and there'll be oohs and ahs, and people will be like, "Oh my God, his arm's stronger than I thought it was." Because when you see it in real life, you're gonna realize that there's out there throwing piss missiles. Okay, so um, yeah, it's hopefully he runs,
Yeah.
but we'll see. Yeah,
Yeah. Airsoft dude, be our luck you get to strain or some crap. Yeah.
yeah. He could strain himself, but this is the thing, like we kind of want him to do that while he's running in a pre-draft thing, and
Mhm.
then like we know beforehand, rather than he's like
Yeah.
trying to do it during training camp and gets hurt, right?
Yeah.
Because then we can make decisions. But yeah, like hopefully he's you know a strong enough athlete to run a couple sprints without being injured. So.
Yeah. So everybody, we're about an hour and a half into the show here. So if you guys just came in and you're here at the end of the show, the topic's hot and we talked about earlier. We talked about the 3-4 defense. Clint apparently likes the offensive line. Signs that Mendoza may possibly sit the first year. Brian Thomas Jr. rumors, and of course, more Max Crosby trade rumors are still swirling. And airsoft, dude. Yeah, I kind of got what you were trying to say there. But aside from that, do you have any last final takes, hot, or things you would like to say to our beautiful chat here before we sign off?
Yeah, I want to thank the chat. You guys are amazing as always for showing up. Amazing questions. You guys are awesome. I will re-air the show on my channel for anybody who is wondering, so you guys have a chance to catch up in case you miss something, and watch it there. And yeah, like we'll get in. It'll be on. We'll do this again next week, right? And we'll probably go ahead and break down more about the defense that is probably going to get run under Rob Leonard. I've got some pretty clear ideas about what that's going to be. So if you guys have questions about that or are really interested in what that's going to look like and how players are going to fit, I got some ideas about how Tyree Wilson may become a real key in this new defense. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah.
Right on. Well, everybody in the chat, it's been great. It's been a pleasure. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Please go check out my man Hot's here channel too. He slices like Genzu. So go check him out. And thank you guys for being here and supporting our channel. And on that note, we're gonna sign off. Hot, I'll let you do your famous outro.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is the world is complicated right now, guys. So stay positive, because what else are you gonna do, right? And as you're going through life, the real truth is always there in between the lines. That's when you're gonna read it, right? So yeah, stay hot.
All right, everybody, take it easy, sign off, and we'll see you next week. See you guys later.